What if I told you the way it has always been done is not the best way? Facing your fears will change your life. The passion behind this journey is merging two separate worlds into one with the goal of creating value and awareness for a better life.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by Unlocking Greatness with Jacob Emery, a coaching community built for those ready to become the strongest version of themselves. Weekly calls, proven playbooks, and a community built to grow. Greatness is not given, it's unlocked. Join us today at jacobemery.com or DM coach at jacobemery44 on all social media platforms. The ironic tragedy of life is that it must be lived forward, with every decision that we make being in the present, that ultimately shapes a future that we cannot fully see yet. Yet life itself only makes sense in reverse when we look back and we connect the dots. In hindsight, the chaos often reveals purpose. And the pain normally turns into progress. Even when in the moment, when faced with bracing uncertainty, we have to maintain faith and not fear and trust that the path ahead will eventually reveal its meaning. Today I want to tell you a story. No big deal, just a story about 3 phases of my life that led me to this point here today. But before that, I'm going to start with a question. How many of you have ever been in a tough situation in life? You thought it was absolutely detrimental to you. And as things progressed and you look back, you realize that it was the absolute thing that you needed to have a breakthrough. So keep that question in the back of your mind. So I want to start with the iron foundation. Boy, look at that guy. Dead or in jail by 21. Dead or in jail by 21. That was my ceiling of success in high school. I did not fit in anywhere. As a kid, I had a passion for running equipment. That was my first love of the iron. I would spend weekends digging out footers for basements and just being around heavy equipment. I loved it. Like this video of me at 5 years old running a full-size track hoe. So I'm not shitting you when I said I loved it. My feet couldn't hit the floorboard. I could barely get the levers, but I found a passion because I was in control. It was something that I absolutely, still to this day, love to do. As I got older, I found another passion for iron. But like most pursuits of my life after that point, it came because of adversity, because of a setback. The setback was my reality check. I was overweight. My nickname as a kid was the Doughboy. Give me some cinnamon rolls, some bread, any of the baked goods, I want them all. That was the majority of my food consumption. In reality, I was fucking fat. I was made fun of, I was bullied for it, constantly criticized, told I was lazy or not good enough, a disappointment. Never told I'm proud of you, that never happened. But maybe all the things that were said to me were just the truth. I would have this dream about walking on the school bus, and as I'm turning to sit down, I look, and everyone's pointing at me laughing. I was shirtless. And in this dream, it's so vivid and so painful, and right when I couldn't take it anymore, my alarm clock would go off. This compounded drastically because I struggled to read and write very well. So my insecurity grew even bigger. I was insecure, I was overweight. I would shake at the thought of a teacher calling on me. So when the teacher's pointing Sky in the room to pick on someone, I'm just like this, terrified. Don't call on me. So around 16 years old, it got even worse. My parents got divorced, and I started drinking. The pain was pretty well unbearable, and I couldn't control anything, or so I thought. But I realized the one thing I could control was the iron. One thing about the iron, it does not discriminate. It does not care about your feelings. I began to train before school. I would skip class to go train, during school, lunch, anytime I would get. But I was only at peace when I was there. One afternoon, I was asleep in class. This was a typical day, just to set the stage. I was asleep in class, 16-year-old. As I'm dead ass asleep, the bell goes off. The day is over. Something was different this day, though. I was saved by the bell, walk out to my truck. Even though this day was different, I still crack open a beer in my little Ford Ranger, and I throw the beer can out the little slider in the back in the graveyard of collection that I had in the bed at that point, probably 300 beer cans. As I'm leaving the school, I'm going up to the stoplight, and R&R Pipeline's working out in front of the school. For no reason whatsoever, unforeseen, I said to myself, that's going to be my company one day. That is going to be my company one day. Probably 10 or 20 times on repeat. Didn't talk about that moment for 12 years of my life. That's going to be my company one day. I have no idea why. I knew R&R Pipeline. I'd been working there part-time in between school year, after school, whenever I could. That's going to be my company one day. An unconscious thought. So I survived the next couple of years of high school, and once again a disappointment. I did not go to college because why would I spend $20,000 a year to go fail at school again when I could maybe make $20,000 a year and buy a house in a few years? So in 2007, for $9 an hour with a shovel in my hand, I started my journey at R&R Pipeline. Dead or in jail by 21. I was right on track to becoming the person that everybody said I would be. It didn't start out good either. 2 years into my journey at R&R, I had made no progress, and I became a product of that environment. On the road, living in a hotel, broke, isolated in this environment of hell. One winter during the layoff, I was at the old school gym, exhausted, contemplating my life. What am I doing? So at this time, I had no money, I'm broke, but I had time to go train. And it was the only thing that gave me peace. I was lifting with the AM crew, I was boxing with Dustin, and I would do jiu-jitsu about 3 times a week at night. On this particular day with my head, my hands, and I'm sitting here exhausted, sitting on a tractor tire, thinking to myself, man, there has to be more than life to this. There's got to be more. And as I'm sitting there, feeling sorry for myself being a victim, I hear this familiar voice walk by. And this guy, Cory Gregory, says, man, what the hell are you doing with your life? What the hell are you doing with your life? That question stopped me in my tracks. I was speechless. I had no idea what to say because reality was I wasn't doing anything. I was going absolutely nowhere. One thing I did not see then, though, this foundation I had built on the iron. I built this foundation through iron, the iron foundation. Lifting weights gave me strength, it gave me confidence. And even though I was never good enough, I wasn't going to be anything in the world, I was nobody, the iron foundation gave me a little bit of peace. One thing I didn't see with the 2 passions of iron was that foundation of being iron built. Heavy equipment and lifting weights built my foundation. That is who I am. I am iron built. I knew a storm was coming though. Do I run away like the cow, who's a coward, or do I run toward the storm like a buffalo and become my own hero? I chose to run toward it, face my reality. This phase of my life is my breakdown. My breakdown was tough. And we transitioned to phase 2, building my infrastructure, the bridge. After I faced my fears, my challenges, the egos, the issues in my life, I realized this pain of staying the same is too much, so I need to change. What am I not willing to sacrifice, though? Because if I want to change, I got to give up a lot to go get what I want. I had to establish a different direction because the one I was on was not a good one. I had to leave the old me behind. And this is where I started building a bridge. By building my infrastructure personally and professionally, I built a bridge away from that old environment. I started to focus on what I could control. The next step, the next certification, the next thing that I wanted to get, I focused on that and that was it. I would study certifications outside of work hours on my own time. And then my passion for fitness took over. I wanted to be a personal trainer on the weekends. So I would be studying flashcards to and from job sites every day, getting ready to take the test for Nesta Certified. I'm sure G knows what I'm talking about. Some of you OG fitness trainers. Nesta Certified, a little DVD, a 6-week course. Saturday morning, I'm getting ready to take the test. And then lo and behold, what happens? Adversity strikes again. The night before my test, I was told, personal trainer or pipeliner. Personal trainer or pipeliner, which one is it? I was faced with no other option than to pick between the two. After taking my test and returning home, I had chosen to be continuing the pipeline world. I took the easy way out. I was too scared to go all in on personal training. So when asked about my decision of which one it's going to be, I lied and I said, I failed the test, I'm going to keep being a pipeliner. But the reality, I passed the test. I just didn't tell anyone until right now. That day, I thought a part of me died because I thought the fitness pursuit was over forever. I didn't blame anybody else, though, because I knew this was on me. I owned it. Through the consistency, the discipline, lifting, personal and professional development, what the hell are you doing with your life? I started to change. I went from a laborer making $9 an hour at 20 years old with no progress in 2 years. 2 years later at 22, I was in charge of job sites with anywhere from 5 to 30 people on a crew. I was a foreman in the field, supervisor, and I had progressed past so many people because of the little things done consistently. Most of the people on the crew had been doing this longer than I've been alive. And I thought, well, then come take my fucking job, man. Because right now, I'm in charge. I was hungry, but I was determined to change. I had a bigger vision for my life. So at 22 years old, I said, you know what? I'm all in. I'm going to buy this company by the time I'm 30. Was I delusional? Maybe. Very delusional. Was everyone right about me once again? Pretty much. I would say that 99% of the time in this life, the outside world has been right about me. The reality was my peers didn't know the new me, though. They could only remember the old me. But it didn't matter. I knew internally who I was. And externally, I still had the iron. My foundation was set. Now with the physical and mental side locked in, anything was possible. But like all great dreams, a portion has to have another reality check. And I realized that the likelihood of me buying this company by myself was laughable. So I decided, you know what, I am a partnership person. Because if I do this by myself, I could probably buy the company, but I would sacrifice everything I love to do so. And I wasn't willing to do that. So I became a partnership person. The realization of that was powerful for me. I often reference the power of partnership through the eye of a draft horse. A single draft horse by itself, 8,000 pounds, can be pulled. Logic would tell you that 16,000 would be two of them together. But in reality, if you have two draft horses unified, working in sync, they could pull 32,000 pounds. So I realized I can expedite my journey with a partner. Soon after, my now business partner, Cody, and I started chasing this dream. My infrastructure was being built. The bridge was there. The bridge was built. I became a new person. The old me, I didn't know anymore. Now, I need to start phase 3, the build-up. Phase 3, connecting the dots, iron and infrastructure, the build-up. April 12th, 2018, this day was the turning point. My now business partner, Cody, and I sat down with the previous owner and said, we want to buy our pipeline. We're sitting there having a steak, and he looked up. He said, that's fucking cute. That's cute. Good luck. Why did he laugh? My net worth was $37,000 with some equity in a house. 37K. You guys will see that more often today. It's on one of my logos, and I often reference that because anything is possible. 37K was my net worth, and we're trying to buy almost 8-figure company at the time. Once again, the world was correct about me 99% of the time, but 1% chance is all I needed. The only person who really believed that the deal was possible was my attorney, Jim Havens. His belief was profound, and I am forever grateful for him. Everything was going according to plan. Man, this shit is easy. Piece of cake. And then it wasn't. We had a bank lined up with a closing date. And then we didn't. The bottom fell out. We got a call from our CPA. No deal. No deal. As Jim hangs up the phone, he says, isn't this fun? And I thought, this old motherfucker is about to get punched. At that second, I had never wanted to punch an old man in the mouth so hard in my life. But the reality was, it was fun. Because I realized something. In that moment, I will never be in that moment again. Just like right now here today, this moment is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. And in that moment, I realized that I will never be in this spot again with all the chips pushed in, everything I have in this one thing. So I embraced it. And what the reality was, I figured out if I can be in a bad mood for no reason, damn, I can be in a good mood for no reason, because being in a bad mood for no reason at all isn't much fun. Pressure's a privilege. The 22-year-old version of me prayed for that problem. I used to pray to have problems like that. So I loved it. I embraced it. I faced it. I felt it. And from that point forward, the uphill climb was brutal. Persistent patience is my life motto now. That was the driving force to pushing forward. I'm persistent in my pursuit, patient with the outcome. When we look back at certain events in life, it's often the unanswered prayers that become our biggest blessings. Here I am, 30-year-old, insecurity, fighting everyone and everything in my path for my whole life. Never good enough. The fat kid, disappointment, dead or in jail by 21. 99% of the time, the world is right about me. I went all in. But by going all in, I'm in the 12th round of a boxing match with 10 seconds left. One eye swollen shut, the other eye damn near there. The pressure of the world is on my shoulders. Lose your house, lose everything you have. And I had to sit with myself. Did I have what it takes? Was I going to be the failure once again that I had been my whole life? You know the funny thing about life though? 99% is not 100%. And all I needed was a chance. On May 24th of 2019, 407 days exactly after sitting down that day at lunch, we closed on the purchase of Varner Pipeline. The seemingly impossible was done. For the first time in my life, I won. That 99% perception from the others in my life was now 0% because I was 100% right about myself with one win. Because there was undeniable proof that I am that guy. However, 2 days after becoming the owner of Varner Pipeline, as I'm feeling this thing, I should feel better, I should feel it. I was gutted and I was empty inside and I had no idea why. It took a while to figure out, but there's something missing. After a year or so, I realized one very impactful thing. I was so focused on the destination that I didn't enjoy the journey. I was so focused on becoming the owner to prove the outside world wrong that I wasn't focused on who I'd become. In reality, the person that I had became was the person that was capable of buying our pipeline. Find joy in the journey. Don't have destination disease. Because at the end of it, if you don't enjoy the climb up that mountain, then you're not probably going to enjoy the view very much. Everybody wants the view, but not everybody wants to climb. Enjoy the climb. It's what you're going to remember the most. Connecting the dots. It can't be done until life unfolds its meaning and all the dots are there to be connected. Things start to come full circle for me one afternoon when I received a call from someone you guys probably know, this guy, Cory Gregory, once again. So, Cory calls me and proposes an opportunity to become a shareholder of Max Effort Muscle. The irony in this phone call, everybody. Personal trainer or pipeliner have to have a choice. The fuck I do. It was a learning lesson. It wasn't my time yet. Had I pursued personal training, I probably would not be here today because I probably would have never purchased Varner Pipeline. It all started to come back. But there was still something missing. And then, once again, what the hell are you doing with your life, G? He texts me on Sunday night and says, hey, we're moving into this building. We start tomorrow, 4 a.m. crew. Guess what I haven't missed since? I was back in my sweet spot. I needed that atmosphere again. Not long after coming back, Cory and I helped a good friend of ours, Jason Thomason, live out his dream. CrossFit Uprising was founded, it started. Being in this environment made me realize one thing. I needed the flexibility in my life. I am way too scatterbrained and chaotic to be in a bureaucratic system. It doesn't work for me. So, my thoughts became more delusional. My dreams became bigger. I was evolving daily, spiraling out of control sometimes. Ask Treadway. Speaking of Treadway, I had decided to write a book. Treadway stepped in and said, man, let me help you out with this. The Pipeline to Prosperity, now a program inside of Varner Pipeline, was a book putting together. Once again, back in the line of fire, putting myself out there, and for about a month or two, with G and Treadway just talking absolute shit to me relentlessly. Me not seeing my value at all, they talked me into this idea, doing content. I don't know a fucking thing about content. What am I going to do? I got nothing to talk about. Once again, connect the dots. I faced one of my biggest fears in life when starting the Iron and Infrastructure podcast. Episode 1 of the Iron and Infrastructure podcast. Today on the Iron and Infrastructure podcast, on today's episode of the Iron and Infrastructure podcast, having an idea is one thing, but an idea without any action is just a dream. This time last year, I was hand sketching the logo for the Iron and Infrastructure podcast at a table with my daughter. I have a special guest. A lot of feedback that I've gotten so far after the release of the podcast. Favorite subject of all time, personal development. It's been one hell of a year. Bringing together my Iron Foundation which helped build my personal and professional infrastructure. To be honest with you guys, I was terrified. Being in front of people on a camera, on a microphone right now, one of my biggest fears in life. The second was having my shirt off in front of other people. And any of you that lifted this morning seen me with my shirt off. I was terrified. But because of that fear, I face them challenges every day now. Over the 1 year since the release, there's about 130 episodes that are put out. Every Monday and Friday, I haven't fucking missed. Because I can control the consistency. I can control the discipline. I can show up and do what I know I need to do. Throughout my entire journey, I had a passion. But I didn't realize this passion was so impactful until I became a business owner. I truly care about helping other people. I want everyone to be successful and feel great and fulfillment in life. I got a phone call one afternoon. I got the offer to go speak at my high school that I went to for an aspiring leaders class. Dead or in jail by 21, and they want me to go back and now speak to the school. Talk about not seeing this one coming. Damn, was I humbled. As I approached the school to talk to the teacher about the curriculum and kind of the class in itself, I had this weird stomach feeling again, like, man, what the hell is going on? I'm a grown-ass man. I'm 35 years old. I started to feel that way I did when I was 16 years old. So as I walk into the school, nearly 20 years later, I sit down with the teacher. As I'm walking to the classroom, every memory of high school came back before my eyes, just rapidly. And as I sat down in the seat, I jolted so hard, the teacher actually asked me, "Are you okay?" You know, it's often hard to see the forest through the trees when you're struggling. Just like the 16-year-old kid that was absolutely hopeless, dead or in jail by 21, 20 years later, connecting the dots. I was sitting in that same exact seat 20 years later as I was at 16 years old when I was asleep in class. The day that I said, that will be my company one day, the same fucking seat. I couldn't make it up if I tried. I distinctly remember that day at 16 waking up and looking out the window, and I could see this wall with this air conditioner on this window. That memory for 20 years was in my head. When I sat down in that seat and jolted, I seen that fucking air conditioner again. The dots don't always connect when you're in the middle of the grind. You got to have them all there to connect them. But when you see all of them, you got to think about looking back. You see every rep, every struggle, every decision was shaping something that was bigger than what we knew then. The one thing I wish I had learned earlier, we all have greatness inside of us. Each and every one of you has greatness inside of you. Everyone is born with greatness, but so few dig it out and uncover it. It's almost 6 years since I purchased R&R Pipeline. My mission has evolved, it's changed. My mission is to inspire and empower others to unlock their greatness. Because we all have greatness inside of us. We just have to unlock it. Today, I'm in the final stages of releasing my coaching program, Unlocking Greatness with Jacob Emery. Greatness is not reserved for a select few. Greatness is in each and every one of us, waiting to be unlocked. After years of mentors, coaches, investing 6 figures in my own development over the last couple of years, it's time to help others. Life doesn't happen to us. We are not victims. Life happens for us. All the adversity that you face and all the challenges that you have, don't let them be detrimental. Embrace them. Look at them as a way to get better. This is a challenge. This is a test. Even if you have a valid reason to dwell on the pain and the setback, I just got to ask this question. So fucking what? So what? Is this issue or this adversity going to be the reason that you are held back forever? Is this your excuse of the reason why you can't? Power follows the blame finger. Instead of pointing to the outside world, point in the mirror, because it's on you. Life is a mirror, it is not a window. Without pain, there's no progress. When adversity sets in, point into the mirror and give yourself the power and control the outcome. Right at the breaking point, when you're ready to give up, just know you're probably 3 feet from gold. 10 seconds left in that damn boxing match again, 12th round. There's a breakthrough on the other side. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Iron built my infrastructure. It helped me discover my own greatness. Now it's your turn. This episode of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast is brought to you by R&R Pipeline Inc., an infrastructure company. Join our team today at rrpipeleineinc.com